crypto weekend. Let's see where some of our favorite cryptos are landing this weekend and see where they may be on their way from here. So we're going to start, of course, with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up over $100,000 right now. In fact, it's over $103,000 right now. You can see we are in this ascending channel here right now. Things are getting a little bit more aggressive the last couple of days. We got into the top end here, and it is holding up here and driving a bit higher. I do like to see that. The only thing I don't like is that it is that ascending channel. And we'll go ahead and draw that there. You can see, yeah, the bottom line, as long as it doesn't go below this trend line here, I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. You can see that the Pi cycle top is still far ahead up here at $129,000. And as we know from previous cycles, the top of the Pi cycle top there, that is not where the price ends. That is simply the line that this red one all the way down here at $74,000 needs to cross over in order to say, okay, the top is in. So we're not even close. There's quite a large gap on the Pi cycle top here right now. Let me turn off my drawings again for a second. So we'll get back to those. So you can see here the volume. So I got the volume profile on here. So with Bitcoin right now, you can see right now, as long as we're above $97,000, we're actually very strong. And from 97,500 basically down to 94,800 or basically $95,000, we've got lots and lots of support right there. If that breaks, then we would quickly fall down to the low 90s. And if that gives way, if we lose $90,000 again, we could find ourselves, the only little tiny support is around 80, which is where these two candles broke off, and went higher. Tiny bit of support there, but then the next one is all the way down and in the mid 70s. So that would be a significant drop if we lost $90,000, and that would be from current prices about a 25% dip, which is actually a very normal dip for Bitcoin. So it actually would still be very bullish. It would just be very scary for all of us holding. So don't be super surprised if you saw that to happen. Like if we lost $90,000, I would say, yeah, we're going to come down to 80, potentially even down into the mid 70s. And if that doesn't hold, we might even do a wick down to this level of on the volume profile all the way down here at $68,000. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, of course. I'm just saying if we lose $90,000, that is very much a possibility. We're not close to doing that right now. We're $13,000 above that level right now, and we are driving higher. The momentum is with us. You can see here on the stochastic ribbons, we're green on yellow and we're in overbought territory, but we can stay there for a while. Average force is growing on the daily. That is also really good. So let's bring back the drawings real quick. Let me turn off some of this. Let's bring back the drawings real quick. So, as you know, this light blue candle pattern down here that I've got in the background, that is from the 2017 cycle. Okay, it matched up pretty good with our current cycle, so I put it on the chart and left it there. Right now, it looks like we're not going to do this dip here that it did, which would have taken us down to that $70,000 range. Looks like we're not going to do that right now. We're on, so this one was a more aggressive drive up to this level where we are now. In terms of it's changed to meet the scale, so this was a way lower dollar values. But we went aggressively, and now we're kind of just grinding higher. It's a slow grind. That is actually not a bad thing to see, that slow grind kind of just angling up and forever. Of course, it will end at some point. Right now, it looks like we're on track to potentially meet this $113,000-$14,000 range that I've got here on the light blue sometime, potentially maybe even a little bit before February. We might see that in January. And then we might finally see some kind of breath taken by Bitcoin here sometime after the inauguration, I'm expecting personally. So we'll see. I've been using basically every dip as a buying opportunity for like all things crypto. I've been getting into memes. I've been getting into some real degen stuff, stuff most of you probably aren't going to get into, and I wouldn't recommend it. but if you feel like gambling, there's some fun to be had out there on the Sui and Sol chains using dexes. So that's been an enjoyable thing to do lately, especially during the Christmas season. There's been a lot of money flowing into those. And also lots of scams. So be careful. I did actually end up putting a small amount of money into a honey pot over the weekend, which I'm a little bit upset about, but it is a small amount of money. I'm not really too upset about it. The only upsetting thing is seeing such big numbers and not being able to sell. Oh well. It was a lesson to take things a little slower. Always go get the source code, copy it and paste it into ChatGPT and ask it if there's any malicious code in that token, which after the fact I did, and I was like, oh yeah, there it is. It was malicious. Oh well. So those bad actors are still out there, and those smaller tokens in those deep, you know, recesses of the cryptoverse, they're still out there. Anyways, let's move on to let's look at the fib clouds. Let's see. So we are still holding the 21 day. That's great. Still holding the 21 day. We're below the ATR band. We're not even in the maroon anymore. We went above the maroon and just going sideways, doing a pullback through time here. We're actually reset with the 21 day moving average, which gives us a significant amount of room. If you remember, the last time we actually touched this thing was all the way down here at $67,000, and we drove all the way up to $100,000 from there the last time we touched the 21 day moving average. So getting this pullback in time is actually really nice to see here. Let's go ahead and move this up to a weekly. How do we look on the weekly? So on the weekly, we're actually up and above all this stuff right now. So we might see some sideways action here for a bit. I can't see necessarily, unless we get some big catalyst coming through to drive Bitcoin way higher. I don't see much more than like sideways action for the next week or two, or maybe a little more. But we could get a blow off kind of situation here. Like we've done this in the past, where like December 2020 was the here we go. The last time we were up here in this period of time, we were doing this exact same type of pattern actually. Now that I'm looking at it, the exact same type of pattern. We were just hanging out above the maroon here, and then at the back end of December, we just said gravity doesn't matter, and just took off through the beginning of January, and then we had January 6th, and we got a little bit of a dump off from there because there's a little bit of worry about what was going on with that. And then it came back to the top ATR band and then took off again and said gravity doesn't apply to me. So this is kind of what I'm expecting to see. I'm expecting a drive up here to inauguration, which is exactly what happened last time, I believe, right? Yep, January 4th, when they were going to certify the election, and then 2 days later we were dropping, and we dropped for 3 weeks, right? And then after that we drove up into February, where we went flat into April, and then tax season came around. Everybody started selling for tax season through April and May. And then we bottomed out in early July and then took off again. That's kind of what I'm expecting to see this time around as well. We're doing exactly the same sort of thing, right? We're hanging out just above the maroon here. We got a hammer candle. We're looking like we're back end of December we could see in the back end of December a launch up into the 130, 140 range, right? See a dip sometime after inauguration, and then maybe even further upside after that. So keep that in mind. This has happened before. All right. Let's move on to the daily. Let's take a look at Sol. How's Solana doing? Solana is actually in a really interesting place right now. This is a place I would consider buying if my bags weren't full. It came down to the 200-day moving average. That is a really good place to pick up Solana. Of course, nothing I say is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Look at the last time we hit the 200-day moving average. It was down here in November, and it was at $155. And what happened afterwards? It ran up over $100. So if you had bought 100 Solana at $150, you would have made over $10,000 in less than a month. So 200-day is a pretty cool area for Solana. Now, they're in a bull run. We've seen it hit the 200 and go lower, hit the 200, go up a little bit, go lower, hit the 200, and then fly. You know, but it's all about the nature of the period of time we're in right now, right? We're after the halving, okay? And some of this did happen after the halving, but we're in the bull cycle right now. So what I would do is draw this line right here like I drew. I draw that line. Once we get above this line and do something like this, watch. Once we go above this line, do something like this, right? Come like this, maybe come back down, touch it, ride it a little bit, and then start going back up. That's when we're going to see $300, $400 or higher on Solana, okay? We're going to go up, maybe come back, touch this line again, maybe ride it a little bit just to scare you. And then once it starts lifting off of this line again, that's when we're going back up to this 260 and beyond for Solana. So that's kind of the game plan in my mind right here, because we are in a good spot and we are in the bull run, and it is forming a descending channel that looks quite controlled. And if we go to the weekly, I bet you it'll look even more controlled. Okay, the weekly is a little too short, but it is looking pretty controlled. Look, this identical candles. If we get another doji next week, yeah, I'm gonna be like this one here. Get a doji like that. Ooh boy, I'm gonna be saying Solana is about to rip. Let's go ahead and take a look maybe at the 3-day. Maybe the 3-day gives me a little better viewpoint there. Kind of. So you'll see. I'll draw the channel real quick. So the channel is here to here, and it goes like that. There we go. That's the channel. That's what we're in. Once we break this channel, and it likely will break to the upside, we're gonna fly on Solana. So get your seatbelts on. We might wick down to the 21-week moving average down at 186. That's a possibility. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen because 200 is a huge psychological level, but we are forming a bull flag, a wicked bull flag right here, right now. And I would love to see it just break above it and then take off into $300, $400, $500 range. That would be amazing for Solana. Let's take a look at ETH. How's ETH doing? Let's go back to the daily here. Daily on ETH. ETH, we had... Okay, so we conquered this trend line here. This trend line is done. We came back, we went above it. This is like I was saying with Solana, right? We went above the trend line, came back down, tapped it, and bounced. Now we're making a bull flag. That's good. So this trend line is done. That's done. It's used up. It's above it. It went above it, tapped it as support, and took off from there. Now we're creating a bull flag. This bull flag is going to drive us up here. This bull flag could take us to the highs over here, which is 4,095. Is that right? Or is there? Let's see. Where's it? There we go. No, it's definitely going to take us to the high. The high is all the way up at 4,800. So, but let's see. Let's see how high could that bull flag take us. So we got the pole. I like to use my ruler here. The pole is about that long. Yeah, it could take us to 42. So it could take us to 42. Not the previous all-time high. We'd have to start making a new structure up there, but it could get us up into the maroon there. So 4,200, that's not bad. That's pretty good for Bit Digital, honestly, which I do hold a decent amount of. So that's that for Ethereum. Let's see. Let's look at the volume profile for Ethereum. So yeah, as long as we don't lose 38.76 there, as long as we don't lose that. If we lose that, we could fall all the way back down to the bottom of this pole here, which would end up looking like a double top. There's a ton of support at 3,300, so I wouldn't really expect you to get through 3,300. And even if it did, there's tons of support all the way down to 3,000. And if we got below 3,000, then of course we'd be dropping to 2,600. But where we are right now, I think we got a lot of support beneath. We got a lot of volume there. I just want to see it get above this line right here, and then it will, and then crest over this high here, and then we would be seeing the 42, 4300s again, potentially even going back to all new all-time highs at the back end of December. So we'll watch that for Ethereum. Keep your eyes on that. Okay, let's take a look at Sui. Sui, I don't talk about Sui. I don't think I've talked about Sui before on the channel, or at least I haven't charted it. Sui is a up-and-coming chain. It is very exciting right now. They got all the hottest memes right now for the crypto space. They're being driven heavily by what Solana was being driven heavily by last year. So we'd like to see Sui go higher. I actually own a few hundred Sui, so I'm hoping that this one ends up being like basically what Solana was last cycle and gives me, from $3 to $100. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know if it's going to do that, of course, but one can hope. Anyways, Sui's not too bad. We came down to the 21, we went up, came back to the 21, we went up, hit the top ATR band. So it likes to hit this top ATR band and come back to the 21. So right now, we'd be looking at maybe coming back down to $4 on this and then looking to see what it's going to do from there. It hasn't revisited the 200-day moving average since November 4th. So we might want to see a flush down like that, which would be like 345, 350 again from where we currently are. We can see that the average force is not the greatest. Like it's kind of all over the place here, along with the stochastic ribbons. They're not looking fantastic either on the daily, to be honest, right now. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Sui give me a little bit of a dip here, maybe even come back down to support right here at 345-ish and then take off. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see that. Let's take a look at the weekly. How's the weekly? Ooh, man, this thing has not been around that long. So yeah, the weekly, same sort of scenario. No volume profile, like $3 would be the lowest. If it got below $3, we'd come all the way down to like the 250, maybe even down to like 150 range on Sui. We're higher than we've ever been before, so we're at all-time highs right now. I mean, we've been up to 498, but that just wicked. Let's take a look at maybe like a 2-day, see if that gives us a little more to work with. Yeah, okay, yeah, about 360, 345-ish, somewhere around here would be where I'd look at it for support if it were to break this line, and I'll draw a line. If we were to break this line right here, if we were to break that, I'd be looking for it to come all the way back down to like 340 from here, and then maybe see a bounce, and then we'll see. I mean, we'll see what it is from there. On the 2-day, the average force looks a lot nicer. It's a lot smoother, but it is getting smaller. So we would want to see that tick up again for Sui. So Sui's not in the best place right now. I can't say I would be buying more Sui where it currently is. I was buying down in the low 3s. So there you go. Let's take a look at Crow. I haven't talked about Crow in a while. Crow is one that I bought back in the previous cycle. I've been holding this one for a couple of years, waiting for it to pop off. I'm actually almost, oh, well, nah, not anymore. At 21 cents, I'm at a 100% return on it. So it's at 17 right now, or 16 right now. So that's not great. So it keeps hitting my zones and then dropping off, right? I have these little boxes here, and it hits them, and it comes down. And as long as this thing's got to stay above, it's got to stay above 16 cents. Got to stay above 16 cents. Otherwise, I'm going to be having a bad time. Let me turn off the volume profile. Yeah, if it gets below 16 cents, this thing could drop all the way back down to 9. That would suck. That would put me in the red. I would not be surprised at all to see this thing hit the 200-day moving average at 15 cents, though, and then bounce from there. Like, give me a good scare and then bounce, or catch it, the 200-day moving average at 16, 17 cents. Could totally see that, too. Yeah, this one's not looking so hot right now. This looks like it wants to curl over, come back down to this area, to the 200 area, bottom Bollinger Band, and then go back up again. No matter, though, I've been holding this long enough. I can hold it a little longer. I'm not too concerned. Let's take a look at Dogecoin. How's Dogecoin doing? Dogecoin, it broke that line, so that's bad. We are creating a bit of a bear flag here, so we're below the 21 day moving average. Yeah, it looks like we got a date with the 382 here. This 382 at 34 cents, that's an area that I would not suspect it to go a lot further below unless we get something bad, right? Yeah, I mean, even if we get under here, yeah, there's no support. Oh man, there's no support all the way to 16 cents, but we know how memes work. They don't work off of normal moves. So yeah, I would expect maybe 34 cents to be a bouncing area, and I'd watch it from there. I wouldn't buy it right away, but I'd watch it from there. That's it for Doge, I guess. Let's look at the weekly. How's the weekly looking for Doge? And let's turn on the volume profile for the weekly. Yeah, there's like volume all the way on the weekly, so that's why I'm not too concerned about that daily volume profile gap. We came down to the top ATR band. Let me turn off the drawings. We hit the 5 week. Yeah, as long as we're above this 5 week moving average here at 40 cents, I'm really not concerned. Even if we wick down, we might wick down to like 34-ish or so, but I wouldn't be too concerned about that. The final coin we're going to talk about today is XRP. I actually kind of like where XRP is right now. We wicked down all the way to the 21 EMA on the daily here, and we bounced up, and we're right now making something of a bull flag right here. And if we get up and above $2.45, right, $2.45, I do see this coming right back up to about $3 for XRP. Okay, so that's going on with XRP. We came down to the 618 and bounced. That was the area to buy XRP, down at 190 when it bounced off of that 618 level, just like I mentioned before when we were talking about it when it was up here. And if we drill down to the hourly, let's see if you actually had much of a chance to get it down there. Let's see, on the hourly, you actually had about 2 hours. This candle right here on December 10th at 11 a.m. Notice how we drove up, right? And then the next candle opened right at the top of the body there and drove higher. That was your signal. That was saying we're going to go higher. And then notice the next candle, body opened at the top of the previous body, drove higher. And then a third time, body opened up here. The body here is at the top of the candle and drove higher. That is a pattern that we see repeating over and over and over again. And that is one that I want everyone to learn how to recognize and say, this thing's going higher. So that is the pattern. That is a pattern that we're watching for when we're looking for breakouts and breakdowns. And that was it. If you're monitoring XRP, I'm not monitoring that closely. I'm not really buying XRP. Not because I don't like it. I've been in it before. I'm okay with not owning it. It's fine. It's not a bad token. I have nothing against it. I just don't own it. Anyways, this was the pattern you're looking for, and that was the buy area. That 190, like if it hit the 190 and you nibbled a bit, and then when you saw this second candle in, you bought heavier with conviction, that was your time. Now, right now, the next best time now is going to be when we break out of this consolidation right here. Okay, this consolidation right here. I'm going to draw a line on this chart. When we see some hourlies closing over this bad boy right here, over that 243.872 cents, right? $2.43, 0.87, a bunch of decimals. When we close above that, that is going to be the next time where we get a nice move up. Looking at it at the daily, yeah, we get above that area. We're looking to move potentially all the way up to 266 again off of that bad, that evening star pattern that we saw come in that was pretty bad that took us down to the 618. And then we could potentially see $3 one more time on XRP based on that. Okay, let's take a look at the weekly now. Weekly is actually looking pretty good. Turn this off. I don't mind. So generally, I don't love hammer candles at the top of the move. That's what we're getting right now. We're getting in 5 hours. It'll be closed. A hammer candle at the top of the move. I don't love hammer candles at the top of the move, but this one's not too concerning. We got average force on the weekly still going up. We do have something of on the stochastic ribbons here, you can see the yellow is pinching here, and that could come down and create a bull flag off of this. So don't be surprised if you were to see a bull flag come out of this on the weekly, where we go flat or even down a little bit for, a couple of weeks, and then pick right back up, because you can see that the slow is still very just wide open going sideways there. We want to see the bottom of this kind of close up towards the top, and that would be when we start driving up a little bit higher on it. So watching that as well. Anyways, one last thing I want to talk about today, Nanrz. So this is my own little project here for crypto. This is very degenerate, as is illustrated by the banana zone and it being Nanrz. This one is trading on the Sui wallet as per the Hop aggregator application there. It's basically a Hop aggregator, just finds a liquidity on several different dexes and allows buys and sells. We actually got a buy today on Nanrz, which it hasn't gotten a buy in a little while. Let's go to trades here. You can see, today a buy. I don't know who that is. Some random person. They bought about $5 worth of Nanrz. And that is, so Dev Wallet, that's me. Anytime you see Dev Wallet, that's me picking up a little bit more Nanrz. I think right now, what do I hold? 3% of the 3.2% of the overall supply of Nanrz. That's all I got. It's a fun little project I've been working on. You can follow us on X for Nanrz. You can see this is today's post. This is fun. I've been playing with some AI generation and stuff for the Nanrz page there. You can see a couple of things. I go with some themes for a couple of days, and then I switch up the theme there. But go ahead and follow us at Nanrz, @Nanrz_bananas on X if you just want to get the daily meme or the daily, AI fever dream for Nanrz. And anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio. If you're feeling in the giving mood, I've got a donation link there for a friend of mine that is doing a trip across the west coast of the United States. So he's starting up on the border, or maybe even in Canada, I can't remember exactly, and riding all the way down to the southern border of the United States for Tourette's and cancer research. So if you want to donate to that cause, it is a good cause to get involved with. And with that said, have a profitable day.